Good morning and welcome to the live series Straight Off the Bat. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. I am your host, Pauline Joseph, and if you're joining us for the first time on Facebook, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and follow our page to continue seeing content that help you manage your money. So today we are discussing how are banks transforming digital customer experience in Trinidad and Tobago with Richard Downie. He's the current president of the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and he started his career as an IT consultant at Pete Marwick, now KPMG, and joined Royal Bank as a programmer analyst. He's a former national hockey player, so we have some stuff in common. I never made national, but I did play hockey for 15 years. And he is the managing director of RBC Royal Bank Trinidad and Tobago Limited and is the chairman of RBC Merchant Bank Caribbean Limited. So let's welcome Richard Downie to the Straight Off the Bat show this morning. Hello.
Hi, Pauline. Thank you for having me a second time. Glad to be on the program.
Great. So we're going to get into it because people usually think an hour is a long time, but when it comes to all information that we want to share today, especially when it comes to customer experience, I think let's start with, the idea of digital and customer experience, because if we want to throw it all the way back, customer experience, as most people put it into, hey, I'm going into a store to collect something, hand my money, the barter system is no more, money, card, and then I leave the store. So
Right.
As it relates to the bank, what would you say is customer experience?
The customer experience is really making that whole interaction pleasant, efficient, and effective, in my view. I mean, and then that's not no formal view on it, but I would think if one were to say, what would you want? Certainly a pleasant interaction. And, where digital plays in that space is banking over the years has transitioned from that being one of coming and lining up in front of the bank, waiting for it to open, going inside, filling out forms, going to the counter and getting your transactions processed and leaving with cash in your hand if that's what you want, or a draft and so on. A lot now with the digital side of it, that customer experience has found ways to become more efficient or more effective, more pleasant, and allow for, you to get in there or not even have to get to the branch, operate from anywhere you need to be to transact quickly and effectively.
Great. So you actually went straight into the digital aspect, because I want to step back a bit into this idea of, I've actually had conversations with friends who work in the banking sector, and they told me stories of people who come in just specifically so they could count their money and then redeposit it, because there's this physical aspect that a lot of us are holding on to. So how do we connect the dots when it comes to digital banking and the customer experience for that particular individual?
Good point. As we transition, you would find clients becoming more comfortable with not having to possess physically the actual cash, and that their record keeping purposes will confirm that they actually have the money. So as we transition, clients are becoming more comfortable, I'll use that word, in terms of with banks, the money is there, you have a statement, and if you do need to come in, you can actually check to see what funds you have in the account. You can get another statement at the branch and so on. In terms of actual counting the cash or walking with cash, clients, we continue to educate across all banks the need to move away from cash, and it'll probably be one topic I'll get into a bit as we talk a little more on how technology has impacted, the banking and digital world. because cash by itself is high risk. There's fraud, there's counterfeit money, and things of that nature. So more and more you see, to improve client experience, we try to move away from some of these areas where just improve how things operate, but give you that sense of comfort that you still can account for the money that you have in the bank and the ability to move it around, either come in to collect cash or a draft and to move your money to another location or send the money abroad.
That's some good insight. And I want to tap into your wealth of experience when it comes to being in the banking sector. What is maybe one of the biggest shifts you see when it comes to technology and digital banking in assisting the customer?
Biggest shifts is, we and certain banks have different timelines where they'll try to be directionally moving across. I'll step back in terms of worldwide. If you look within the European markets, you'll see certain countries like Denmark and so on purporting to be almost a drive for what we call a cashless society, because cash as we know it comes with a lot of costs and risk overall. And, because of that, there are benefits that as you move away from actually working with cash, that you eliminate a lot of issues that exist within operating with cash, having to count it, reconcile it, move it around. So one of the big things digital enables is de-risking, to an extent, the transactional nature of dealing with cash, both within your own personal values, and you have it cash at home, having it locked away somewhere secure. Of course, the risk of it being burnt. If there was an accident of a fire, your money is gone and there's no accountability for it. Within a business, the risk of fraud, the risk of having to have security to collect the money. So that there are added costs behind just dealing in cash. While you could physically say, I have it, once it leaves your control and you're in possession of it, it's difficult to say it's your cash. So let's say you're walking with an envelope of cash and it dropped out of your car, or you're walking down the road and it fell out of your purse. It's anybody's guess whose cash it is, right? Unless there's a note wrapped around it. It's cash. Who picks it up is now the possessor and the owner of that cash. So those sort of issues in a digital world do not really exist, and it's benefits that certainly will redound to the client.
Thanks for that. And the mention on cashless society, I think, is a great segue into the next question. But before I get into that, I just want to mention that we did have a conversation around cashless society with Carlos Newton of the Financial System Service Delivery in Trinidad Tobago. So we'll put that link in the comment section, because that's something you could watch after this live, so you could educate yourself on that cashless society.
Sure.
Everyone, and welcome back to Straight Off the Bat. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and if you're joining us from YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. Today, we're discussing how are banks transforming digital customer experience in Trinidad and Tobago with Richard Downie. So when it comes to the technological impact, I'm hearing that the risk is definitely less in terms of walking around with that physical cash, because when people tell me about cash only, I get afraid, because I don't really walk around with cash that much. So there also has to be a comfort level with the user, the customer, the client, where we're saying, okay, we're comfortable with it. So, what is the intention from RBC's perspective to bridge that gap when it comes to that experience of branching online and, well, in the branch and online banking?
Sure, Pauline. Maybe just stepping into that, I just had a few other comments around, the technology impact digital banking is having in Trinidad. Certainly, I mentioned a bit about it being more efficient, more quicker for the client, more convenient, of course, able to stay at home, even abroad. Sometimes you are abroad and you need to pay off your credit card or do things of that nature. Before it, unless you did that before you left the country, you would have a bit of a problem to get that done or do an international call, racking up costs in a hotel or by families calling an overseas number to try to get someone to assist you. So certainly convenience is key there, right? I mentioned a bit about the security features that come with it, a safer method of transacting and operating. And I wasn't going to be, you indicated the issue of cash, and it being cashless, but that cash, as mentioned, individuals, businesses, governments all benefit from having less cash circulating and being in operation, because there are costs overall for that. Relative to RBC, what we found is that we started to look at ways to improve our client interaction. And what we focused on is, shouldn't it be better to allow these simpler transactions, easier transactions, to be done more conveniently which is again through like digital online banking, card-based transactions. So you have your point of sale and so on, that you can go and use your debit card or your credit card and have that convenience and that power of shopping in your hand. If we do that, you then now allow within the branch a new dynamic and a new design. And I will, at this point, I'll talk about our couple new branches within Trinidad and Tobago as an example. We have one at Marabella and one at Sinclair, where that design really supports a whole different concept of what you would think is a typical branch that you walk into. The example you had up there shows, little cubicles where you can go and have a conversation and a discussion with a client, very confidential area. You sit, you can talk about what are your needs, your financial needs. You either have money to invest or you're thinking of trying to get financing, either to build a home, buy a property, a car, or it could be for educational purposes for your family, your children, and so on. So the designs you would see now are what I would call more relationship oriented, where what you'll be seeing is a design that facilitates a really convenient way to sit, have a conversation, and feel comfortable to explain and go through what are your needs, what you're looking for. It's not facilitating a financial transaction in terms of I want to write a check, I want to deposit a check. This is more coming in, finding out what are the things either for investing purposes or what are the issues I will need if I want to proceed to try to purchase a property. You have ability to have a conversation, take your notes, go back and leave with documents that you'll have to get filled and come back in and so on. So what we call the relationship side of banking, that it's more conducive to that. And you would see these designs more appearing, I think, across the country eventually. The banks may adopt similar natures, or parts of their branch will be so designed to facilitate that sort of interaction, where I can take you into a small cubicle, a small office, a huddle room. You bring your family, you might have your children with you, and you can feel comfortable that you're not in the limelight, and you can talk privately and confidentially to that relationship manager or to that bank clerk to give you support.
So what you're saying is we're seeing an evolution of the in-branch experience where the customer is going to more engage with their money online, but when it comes to making those financial decisions, they're going to go inside the bank for it.
Very correct, Pauline. So what we call the more complex interactions. One of the pictures would have shown what we call a pod. And I want to, it's digitally, there's a couple of things we need to do. Clients, to your point, will not just gravitate digitally. So I'll talk to the pod concept, which is one, and you might see something similar like in an Apple store, where you are not over a counter and I'm behind the counter and serving you. It's actually facilitative. It's a round table, and yes, we have glass because of pandemics now. So it's to the left side there. You'd see a little computer screen with that little circular area to the left. It's really ability so we can more casually have an interaction. So these will facilitate certain transactional needs, but easily gives that sort of welcoming concept to work with the client. Right next to it, you would have seen what we call our discovery zone, because I can't in the middle, and I can't have you come into a branch, talk digital, and there's no way for me to explain and show you how to, even go onto like an iPad or your phone, to do the actual digital and have the digital experience. So we call them the discovery zone. You come in, and if you need some guidance and help, we sign you up digitally so you can learn how to be more efficient doing the digital side. And those, we call them those discovery zones in the center there, provide and facilitate that. And then lastly, to the right, it looks just like a nice TV screen, big TV screen with an area to sit with a little coffee table. That facilitates advice events. You can have clients come in at the end of the day or sessions that are less busy and actually do a little guidance around first-time home ownership, what is needed to qualify for a home or a mortgage. We can work with various colleagues across different industries and welcome them in. So you see that sort of transitional way from queues and sanctions that you just come and line up behind to go to a counter with tellers behind it, to one more of an engaging, open environment. Come in and have a discussion with your banker or your relationship manager.
We have a question from Marshall Panton. Wants to know, what do you think it would take for us to develop more advanced interbank transfers so that we can transfer money using just the recipient's email address or phone number, example through Interact in Canada, Cash App in the US, or even WhatsApp in India?
Yeah. So what you would find with those apps, they have enough security around the ability to just use your email address to do that. Now, the question there is authenticity. How can I confirm your email address was not hacked and somebody is going to take money because they're using the email to say, this is Richard Downie, I am giving you approval, Interact, which is equivalent to like a Links, but with more capability, more digital capability in Canada. And you can send money, which I did to my brother-in-law in Canada, right? So the issue becomes for us here is we need to get to that level of security and control that we allow you to use your email address, and that is secure enough because of how we're doing it, that would be sufficient information to allow you to either do a direct deposit or in some cases, that's more used for direct deposits because it's you sending money. You'll hardly see that allowing you to directly debit someone's account. Those will go through the more formal channels of ACH, automated clearinghouses, controlled by the banking mechanism to authenticate the client. Normally it's a company or business wanting to, like an insurance company, direct debit you for your insurance premium. You sign a document giving them approval that you don't have to come in every time to make this payment. Give us the ability to direct debit, and we once a month will pull your premium either for the car, for your home insurance, or for your life insurance. So it is something that persons are doing more and more. They're using just the email addresses. Some are starting to use just the phone number. But remember, once you use these mechanisms, we have to ensure the security around it is strong and it's not easily hackable. That will put you at risk. So that would be the journey we're on.
I want to piggyback off of that question and ask if we do have the legislation in place in Trinidad and Tobago to put those things for the public.
Some of it would need to improve. Right now, I'm not speaking off of memory. We talked certainly about being able to transact digitally. It does not really, in my view, get into the mechanism for authentication and validation, but says that if a transaction is done digitally, that there's certain things you can do and that you can take legal action. So what you would find is this may mean you need to just maybe revisit it. Maybe it's there and it's not on top of mind, but mobile wallets is a similar way. You have this mobile wallet that you have control over, and to some people, they don't understand the concept. How can a wallet be virtual? What about it allows it to happen? What is virtual about it is a piece of information that you control that no one else knows, and you can share what you call the public side of it, so people can put money to your wallet, right? You control accessing it and sending money out, the private side of it. The issue you have with the mobile phone is your number, while you know it, some places it's easy to get access to the number. As you say, socially, you probably have your phone number online. Signing into Facebook, you can use sometimes your phone number, your mobile number, or you can use your email address. So these more and more, once we have more security around it, I think it's really then left for it to be the mechanism within which we can transact and do some of these activities.
That's exciting things ahead. And we have a follow-up question actually. Will the investment in security have to be done by central bank or by the commercial banks?
Typically, it will be through the banking sector. What you would find is central bank will help put foundational guidelines how it should interact. So and this is really a bit of the sandbox space as well. I talked about, right, the fintech sandbox. So central bank, if a need comes in and someone approaches a bank to say, we would like to do this offering, we want them to use their email address as a mechanism to transact, we'll tie it back to a credit card or a debit card. So that's how you're going to get the financial aspect. We have to feel comfortable that there's enough security. And what we call, again, a little technical with some terms there, indemnity. Who's taking the risk? Is it the company allowing people to use their email to transact? Where does the indemnity take place? Are you indemnifying the bank that you would have enough protection around your application, that the email address and someone using your app is secure? And if there's any exposure, you as a company take the risk. So this is where the sandbox allows us to talk through how it would work, where the exposure would be. Is it the bank taking the exposure? Or is it the company offering this new online capability taking the exposure? Central bank will give us the guidelines to operate within.
Okay, so we respond there to you, Michelle. Thank you so much for your questions. We want to discuss Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago and the education side of things, but we want to cover that right after the break.
Sure.
And welcome back to the live series Straight Off the Bat. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and if you're watching this on Facebook, don't forget to like and follow our page to continue seeing content that help you manage your money. Today, we're discussing how a bank's transforming digital customer experience in Trinidad and Tobago with Richard Downie. He's the president of the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and we want to bring him back in to have the discussion around what exactly is the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago doing to assist the digital banking education of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So, to you, Richard.
Yep, thanks for that question. As one of the key areas that Bankers Association seeks to promote and guide the population within Trinidad and Tobago is one about financial education. Digital banking is no different. It is a means of financial transacting. And so we continue to collaborate with various stakeholders across the industries, some being chambers, the various business chambers, to promote and put on events similar to like this one, actually, straight off the bat, where we can profile, highlight, provide information to guide persons on how to move forward and to be more digitally literate. What you would find is we do have focus areas. We do focus on the youth as well. But on the youth focus, they are fairly, I would say, comfortable more digitally. They are the ones that just, as you say, get into it and use it. They don't have to get a user manual. They just go and intuitively start to use these devices and capabilities. So what you'll find but they may not be what you'll find in the youth space, is they're not as financially literate. So we do have programs that, one such as the Global Money Week, where we would engage various primary schools and secondary schools to help teach them various issues around money and matters relating to money. We also do work to support, conflict with women, people who are the various issues they're facing within the community. We try to reach out and do our corporate social responsibility to support in that space as well. Most of this we do partner with the various government agencies and support them in that space. We have our BATT newsletter, which comes out regularly, and that will seek to provide certain information to just help build that literacy and provide relevant information to guide persons as well. So these are some of the things the Bankers Association will be doing. We'll continue to look for ways. We welcome feedback that we can take away to see how we can further improve, certainly building the digital education, the digital knowledge and the literacy of our communities across the Trinidad and Tobago.
Always be sure to like and follow our page, wherever you're watching this, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, so you don't miss a single live show. Thanks again for joining us. See you soon. Bye.